This is kind of a newer thing. Again, we're gonna trial out here is essentially the segment's reactions to AI or artificial intelligence. So this was inspired by a X post that I saw where a guy posted saying that he prompted ChatGPT to predict who are the top 10 quarterbacks for this upcoming NFL season. And he had a list of all the different people, saying, like, what do you think? What's your reaction to this? And so it kind of gave me the idea of, I wonder if, we can do something similar to this and kind of see, do we agree or disagree with some of the stuff that it comes up with? So, the topic that I gave it for tonight, and we can do this for a couple different things, is I said, this is the prompt for the upcoming 2025-2026 college football season. Predict who will win each of the Power Four conferences, who will make the 12-team playoff, and who will be crowned the national champion given research and info provided on the web. You ready for the results?
I'm ready. Yep, let's talk about
All right.
this.
And so this is a little bit relevant too, because for those that have been listening, that we did a this or that segment for the conference championships for college football. I think it was either last week or the week before.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
And so here's who it predicted. It said for the SEC that it's going to be Georgia. They said that Texas is the betting favorite, but they still have 4 new offensive line starters. So that's kind of a risk in the gauntlet of SEC. Big Ten, it said Penn State because they have a veteran QB, an elite running back duo, and Jim Knowles taking over the defense, which is, I think he was at Ohio State last year when they won the national championship. And then there's a lot of other teams like Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon that all have new QBs. So there's some question marks there. For the ACC, it said Clemson. They have a great quarterback, good defense, etc. And then for the Big 12, they said Arizona State. They're defending champs, preseason favorites, and they have a pretty good quarterback that's going to be leading the way there. So, Scott, how did AI do compared to our predictions that we mentioned?
I gotta say, I was ready to shit all over the AI, but it was kind of close to what we talked about last week, and I was pretty vocal about choosing Georgia for the SEC and Penn State for the Big Ten, as much as it pains me as a Michigan guy. I would say the ACC is where I think they have things wrong. I hate to always go with the favorite, and in fact, I didn't with the SEC. Um, but I think Miami is the better team, the best team in that conference. I don't think Clemson is going to be the ACC champ, although I guess they are the favorite, aren't they? They're ranked 4th, I think.
Yeah, they're ranked
Um,
pretty high, surprisingly.
yeah. No, so mine that would be my only change. I think I'm predicting Miami in the ACC, but we'll see what happens. I like Arizona State with the Big 12. So
Yeah.
honestly, they did a better job than I thought. I would have thought it would have been like Texas, Ohio State, like blah blah blah, but they no, they shook it up a bit, and I'm big on the Penn State pick for the Big Ten. I really feel strongly about that.
Yeah. I think there was just a couple differences from because we went back and forth on these of who was picking, but then I think whenever you would pick, you'd ask me and vice versa. I think for the Big Ten, obviously I picked Oregon. They're my team. It came down to at the very end, it was choosing between Penn State and Oregon, so I could definitely see either. I picked Oregon for biased reasons. ACC. I don't know that I actually named somebody. I think I was having trouble with I don't like Miami. I just they're not a team that I lean towards. They usually choke like when they choked versus like Georgia Tech or whoever, like this is last year or the year before. So I think I might have said Clemson if I'm not mistaken. I think I said Clemson or maybe
Or
SMU.
SMU, you were kind of
Yeah.
back and forth on those two, I think.
And then Big 12, I remember definitely saying Arizona State. SEC, I still I don't remember who. I don't even know if I gave who I thought it would be. Maybe I said Texas. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
my thought on the SEC is there's a lot of weight on Arch Manning's shoulders. He is so popularly talked about. In fact, I made a simple little short clip about him from our last week's episode that is our biggest clip of all time across all social media. People are high on Arch Manning right now. There's
yeah,
a lot of pressure for a guy who he's only started a handful of football games, and this will be his first time actually being like the guy. that they're going to look to. He's a heavy favorite for the Heisman Trophy this year. Those are big shoes to fill, especially when your week 1 game is against Ohio State. I mean, if they win that game, then he might be well on his way to doing all those things. But that's a come to Jesus type of a football game. It's going to really dictate what type of a football team Texas will be this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I just think that usually the number one consensus team will show some cracks and break a little bit at some point in the year. And I think Georgia's the kind of team that's been here and done that, and they're going to be the ones that fill that void if that happens.
Yeah, that's fair. For the 12-team college football playoff, so they had their auto bids, the 5 highest ranked conference champions, as Georgia, Penn State, Georgia 1, Penn State 2, Clemson 3, Arizona State 4, and then Boise State 5, the best G5 champion. So that's who they had their top 5 for the playoff bracket. And then the at-large teams, they had Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, LSU, Oregon, and Michigan, rounding things out. So what are your thoughts on the college football playoff?
Well, I'd love to see Michigan in there. I'm going to be honest. I don't think Michigan will make the playoffs this year, but I think they will next year. Obviously, I said Miami earlier. I think Miami will be in this mix. And I could actually see, this is my dark horse for this year, but I could see Illinois squeaking it out and somehow sneaking into this playoff picture as well. I think they're going to be a much better team than we've seen recently. So there's my hot take. I think Illinois makes the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think Texas can make it. Obviously, like we talked about. Are they going to go unscathed? I doubt it. They definitely probably will lose at least 1 game, maybe 2 games. I don't know. I mean, Ohio State, I'd have to look at their schedule. I'm not saying that they won't make it, but it all depends on, honestly, some of it depends on their quarterback situation. I think they announced they're starting a redshirt freshman. So same thing with Michigan.
Yep.
We have a true freshman starting, so a lot of question marks. I mean, obviously, I know Oregon has new quarterback, a lot of new players. They've had some elite recruiting, I will say. So kind of like Ohio State and some of these other bigger schools, like they have the talent. It's just can they put it together? I think my hot take is I could almost see. I think LSU will make it. Alabama is still a question mark for me. Like, I am
Depends.
curious, are they gonna be Alabama that we've seen in the past, or is that the past? And now they are really, like still a great team in the SEC, but they're not like elite every single year like they were.
I mean, it's hard to say. I think that the fact that there's 12 playoff spots makes me feel like there's a spot for Alabama, but you don't know for sure until it happens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's one where I have trouble. Like I could see it happening, but I could also see them maybe not making it. I do agree that Miami probably gets in, generally speaking, unless they're horrible. I think one that's underrated that I could see replacing one of the SEC schools could be South Carolina. That's
That would
one
be
that I think a lot of people are not talking about, but they do have a lot of talent. Their roster is very talented. And so if the cards fall right for them, they could
I mean,
definitely be a sneaky team.
they're a good football team that's got a lot of potential this year. That would be awesome. I think to see a team like South Carolina kind of break through that mold and make the playoffs, that would be really cool. I could see them being on the bubble. I don't know if I would choose them, but man, that would be cool if it happened. I feel the same way about Illinois. I'm just kind of choosing Illinois as my team that's going to break through that bubble.
Yeah.
So you and I are kind of on the same page here. We're just slightly different.
Yep. But I mean, generally speaking, I feel like it did what would you give it on a report card of its picks for the playoff?
For the playoff,
Yeah.
I think it played it safe. If you want my first impressions, I think it played it safe.
Mhm.
But that's not a big deal. I mean, if you're trying to be as accurate as possible, playing it safe usually gets you close to the mark. I would give it like an A minus, to be honest with you. I think that's AI sucks for a lot of things, but it does a lot of things well as well. And interesting projections here. Very
Yeah.
curious to see how AI expands. I would give it an A minus actually.
Yep. I give it a B plus. I'm kind of around that same area. I could truly see this being a playoff with a couple of changes. Like, is Clemson really the ACC champion, or is it Miami or someone else? Is it Alabama, or is it someone else?
Who did it choose for the Natty?
Oh, national championship, they picked Georgia.
I'm so A minus for sure. Then I'm sold. I told you that 2 weeks ago. Georgia was
Yeah.
my pick for the national championship this year.
Are you just controlling my AI?
I might be in charge. Who knows? That's wild. I actually didn't expect. I would have thought that it would have chosen Penn State because at least there's like the number 2 overall ranked team right now. But
Yep.
no.
So
Hey, listen, Georgia's only ranked what, 5th, I think.
only.
I mean, usually, like I would have just assumed an AI would choose like a 1 or a 2 seed, but
Yeah.
that's cool. That's my pick to win this year as well.
Well,
I'm on board with that.
we'll have to revisit this later in the year and come back to this episode to see how it did. But that is
I would love to revisit
our
this about
AI
6 weeks in.
segment for the night. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I'd love to visit this about 6 weeks in and then reevaluate how we feel like it did.
Well, we could ask it the same thing and see what it says.